Horizon like a hesitant promise, Tom Calloway eased his weathered boat, the Lucky Catch, away from the creaking dock in a forgotten corner of the Florida Keys. At 72, Tom's face bore the deep etchings of a lifetime spent squinting into salt spray and sun glare, lines that told stories of hurricanes survived, fish lost to bigger storms, and a wife taken too soon by cancer 15 years earlier. His gray eyes, clouded by early cataracts, still held the quiet stubbornness of a man who believed the sea owed him nothing but another day. That morning in early March, the water lay unusually calm, almost apologetic, as if ashamed of the violence it so often unleashed on those who dared trust it. Tom adjusted his frayed brown fisherman's hat, pulled his yellow oilskin coat tighter against the damp chill, and let the engine's low rumble become the only sound breaking the silence. He had no way of knowing that hidden beneath a tarp in the fish hold, a 6-year-old boy named Miguel lay curled into himself, heart hammering, ankle encircled by a black tracking band whose red light blinked like a tiny, merciless heartbeat. The child had slipped aboard in darkness hours earlier, fleeing men whose voices still echoed in his nightmares, men who had dragged his father away on a Cuban beach and left the boy marked as property. This was no ordinary stowaway. This was a fragment of a much larger tragedy playing out across the Florida Straits, where thousands of Cubans had risked everything since the 1960s freedom flights, through the Mariel boat lift of 1980, and into the rafter surges of the 1990s and 2020s. IOM reports confirm hundreds perish yearly in these waters, children among them, swallowed by currents, storms, or worse, the human predators who exploit desperation for profit. Tom's life had been simple, almost monastic. Rise before dawn, fish until muscles screamed, return to a one-room cabin smelling of tar and coffee. Yet fate, that capricious old sailor, had chosen this quiet morning to upend everything. As the Lucky Catch drifted half a mile offshore, Tom caught a fleeting flash of blue fabric near the hold, gone in an instant, like a dolphin's fin breaking water. He cut the engine, the sudden silence deafening. Heart thudding with the unease only the sea can teach, he approached the hatch. What he found would force him to confront not just a frightened child, but the moral weight of turning away when history itself seemed to beg for intervention. In that moment, Tom's calloused hands trembled, not from age, but from the dawning realization that compassion could be more dangerous than any squall. He spoke softly, Now, I ain't gonna hurt ya," his gruff voice cracking like dry driftwood. Miguel's wide eyes met his, conveying terror deeper than words. The boy's broken English, "Please, no hurt, bad men," carried the accent of Havana's back streets, layered with the trauma of a crossing that had already stolen his father and his sense of safety. Tom noticed the tracking device immediately, sleek, modern, utterly out of place on a child's ankle. It wasn't a diver's beacon, it was a shackle disguised as technology. Philosophical reflection settled over Tom like fog. We spend lifetimes building walls against vulnerability, yet one small, trembling soul can dissolve them in seconds. The idiom, "a wolf in sheep's clothing," took on brutal new meaning. The device promised safety, safe for swimming, Miguel whispered, but delivered only control and pain. For English learners today, this scene teaches powerful descriptive vocabulary, weathered, worn by time and elements, etchings, deep lines like carvings, capricious, unpredictable, changeable, append, completely overturn. It also introduces the idiom heart hammering, beating wildly with fear or excitement. As Tom crouched beside the boy, offering a rough but gentle hand, he felt the stirrings of purpose he thought age had extinguished. The sea had always been his teacher, relentless, impartial, demanding respect. Now it demanded something more, courage to protect the innocent when the world looked the other way. What would you do if the sea delivered a child into your hands, not as cargo, but as conscience? Would you sail back to safety, or let one small life rewrite the map of your remaining days? Chapter 2, Shadows on the dock back at the harbor. The morning sun climbed higher, turning the water into molten gold, but no warmth reached the fear coiling inside Tom's chest. He had decided, against every instinct of self-preservation, to bring Miguel to his cabin rather than summon authorities immediately. The boy's terror at the word police had been visceral, primal. It spoke of betrayals deeper than Tom could fathom. In the dim cabin, lit by one bare bulb, Tom helped Miguel out of the oversized blue life vest, clearly never meant for real water rescue, and into dry clothes left from his grandson's visits. The sight of the boy in baggy shorts and a faded t-shirt, looking even smaller, more fragile, stirred memories Tom usually kept locked away. His own son at that age, now grown and distant in Tampa, sending money but rarely calls. History pressed in here too. The Florida Keys had long been a landing point for Cuban rafters, from the early 1960s when families fled Castro's revolution, to the 2021 to 2025 surges when economic collapse and repression drove record numbers to sea. Many arrived as dry-foot successes before policy changes, others vanished, claimed by currents or smugglers. Trafficking networks had grown bolder, exploiting families with promises of safe passage only to demand repayment through forced labor or worse. Miguel's halting story emerged in fragments. Cuba, boat, Papa Muerto, bad men take ankle thing hurt. The tracker, he explained, was locked on after his father was killed, insurance that the boy could be reclaimed if he escaped. Tom's hands shook as he examined the device. Angry red welts circled the child's ankle like cruel bracelets. Using bolt cutters from his workbench, he severed it, snap, and the red light flared frantically, an alarm surely triggered. Panic surged. Tom hurled the pieces far into the sea, buying precious minutes. But the men arrived anyway, two burly figures in ill-fitting security uniforms, eyes scanning like predators. They claimed to search for a lost tourist boy. Their tablet showed a blinking that had vanished near Tom's cabin. Tom's defiance, "Hell no, you ain't comin' in without a warrant," was born of decades facing down storms. He blocked the doorway like a breakwater. The standoff ended with their reluctant retreat, but Tom knew it was temporary. Philosophical wisdom surfaced in the silence. True courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting despite it. The same resilience that lets fishermen leave port knowing gales may come. For English learners, master phrases like visceral fear, deep, instinctive terror felt in the body, primal, basic, animal-like, coiling inside, twisting like a snake, building tension. The idiom locked away means deliberately forgotten or hidden. As Tom comforted Miguel, "You're safe here, son, for now," he felt the weight of legacy. His grandfather had once scolded a young Tom for sneaking aboard boats, yet taught him the sea's hardest lesson: protect what matters when no one else will. In protecting Miguel, Tom honored that legacy while challenging his isolation. Modern relevance shines here. In our interconnected world, trafficking survives because good people hesitate. One person's courage can break chains. When shadows return to your door, whether literal danger or moral dilemma, do you stand firm or step aside hoping someone else will act? The choice defines not just survival, but the person you become. To the lucky catch, the boy's small hand swallowed in Tom's rough grip. The engine roared to life. They fled the harbor like thieves in reverse, stealing freedom instead of treasure. Open water stretched ahead, vast and indifferent, the same straits where countless rafters had perished or prevailed. Tom pushed the throttle, murmuring to his old boat, "Come on, girl, one more run." Behind them, the smuggler's sleek speedboat appeared, predatory, closing fast. Gunfire cracked, a warning shot splashed ahead. Tom's world narrowed to survival. Protect the child, outmaneuver death. In the chaos, memories flooded. His wife's last days, the hospital's smell, the helplessness. Now helplessness transformed into fierce purpose. He disarmed one attacker in a desperate grapple, muscles screaming from age and illness, but the second man found Miguel. The boy's cry, "Will I die? Please don't hurt him, he is a good person," shattered Tom. Thrown overboard, lungs burning with seawater and decades of accumulated damage, Tom fought to stay afloat. Sirens wailed at last. Border patrol and police vessels swarmed. The smuggler's boat sank under fire. Miguel was lifted to safety, pointing frantically toward the water where Tom floated, fading. Rescued, Tom collapsed, whispering, "The boy safe," before darkness claimed him. This chapter echoes real cases, Coast Guard interceptions of Cuban groups, including children, near drownings, and occasional civilian rescues that turn tragic or heroic. Philosophically, it explores redemption. An old man, feeling useless, discovers his life still holds meaning through sacrifice. Vocabulary lessons include predatory, hunting like an animal, grapple, wrestle closely, shattered, broken emotionally. Idiom, one more run, equals final effort. Modern English learners see narrative tension build through sensory detail, sound of engines, taste of salt, burn of lungs, techniques that make stories vivid. When waves of adversity crash over you, do you let them pull you under, or do you fight toward the light, knowing your struggle might save another? Room, tubes, pain. 6 hours unconscious, ribs broken, concussion, lungs rattling worse than ever. Miguel entered with Officer Mona Alani, safe, small, eyes shining with gratitude. "You saved me, Mr. Calloway." Joy collided with grim reality. Miguel's mother, captured earlier, had allegedly sold him to traffickers to settle debts. No family remained in Cuba. House burned, relatives gone. Returnment orphanage or streets. Tom, old, sick, alone, spoke unhesitatingly. What if I took him in? Procedures loomed. Social services, Cuban authorities, his son's approval, health concerns. Yet Tom's offer stemmed from profound empathy, the same empathy missing in systems that sometimes fail the vulnerable. History reflects this. Post-2017 policy shifts left many Cubans in limbo. Children especially suffer. Philosophy here is powerful. Family isn't only blood, it's chosen commitment. Second wind. Idiom equals renewed energy late in life. Advanced words, grim reality, harsh truth, collided, crashed together, unhesitatingly, without pause. For learners, storytelling builds emotional vocabulary, gratitude, betrayal, hope. When life offers a chance to rewrite someone's ending, do you calculate the cost, or do you simply say yes because your heart already knows the answer? A new horizon weeks blurred into hearings, paperwork, doctors' warnings. Tom's son, moved by the story, pledged support. Against odds, guardianship was granted, Miguel stayed. They returned to the Keys, the lucky catch repaired, now carrying 2 instead of 1. Tom taught Miguel to fish, to read tides, to trust again. The sea, once lonely, became shared. Miguel's laughter echoed where silence once reigned. Tom's cough persisted, but purpose eased its sting. He reflected, life isn't measured in years, but in moments we choose kindness over convenience. Modern relevance. Empathy combats trafficking. Stories like this inspire action, language mastery through emotion. Vocabulary. Limbo, uncertain state. Pledged. Promise solemnly. Idiom. Against the odds, equals despite low chances. Final reflection. In a world quick to discard the old and the vulnerable, what legacy will you build? One of withdrawal, or one where an old fisherman's weathered hands become the safest harbor a child ever knew? The sea keeps teaching. Sometimes the greatest catch isn't fish, it's hope.